any negotiation. But also having the knowledge base is so important, and knowing the nuances of how you can maybe change something to make it more acceptable to a seller or make it more acceptable to a buyer. The whole goal is to put the two parties together.
My name is Kevin McIntosh, and this is The Closing Table, where we talk to experts about their experience in real estate all across the country. Let's go. Welcome to the Closing Table Podcast. I am your host, Kevin C. McIntosh. Joining us on this episode, another very successful real estate professional. We want to welcome Kathy Birchen to the Closing Table. How are you, Kathy?
I'm excellent. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here, taking time out of your very busy schedule to be on the Closing Table. We appreciate it. We want to get some knowledge out of you today, Kathy. But before we even go into that, let's talk about you as a person and individual. So if you don't mind, tell us who you are outside of real estate, please.
Outside of real estate, I am a wife. I am a mother. I am a grandmother of 7.
Nice. Very busy family woman, very successful
Very
in your profession also. Love to hear that. Thank you for providing that information. So you're obviously a successful real estate agent, but you had to have started somewhere. So let's talk about how and why you started to become a real estate agent, and then tell us about your profession, your entire business model, your structure, and things of that nature.
Okay. Well, I'm a nurse, an RN by background prior to real estate.
Okay.
I had quite a nice career in real estate. I worked my way from being an agent on a floor to operating room and to management in nursing.
Mm-hmm.
And then there came a time when my kids were young and I was managing a unit, and I had 24-hour responsibility of my unit, got called in all the time, carried a pager with me, and I had 3 small kids at home. I was also in a situation where I felt that I wanted to make a little more money because nurses at that time were not paid very well. And I had a family to support, and I thought, well, might be a time. I talked to a close friend of mine who was a real estate broker, and she's really encouraged me to think about joining her in real estate. And she was a broker, and I said, if my husband says that the timing is right, because I knew initially there wouldn't be money coming in the door right away.
Right.
And if he said the timing was right, I said the only caveat would be is that I would want you to mentor me, because she was a very successful broker. She agreed to the mentoring. I took my classes. I joined her brokerage firm. And the first 6 months in real estate, I made sales right off the bat. And then we moved.
Okay.
So we moved, and I'll just segue into that move, because we went from one location in Michigan to another location in Michigan. And I had to start over. So I started over, and I got my feet wet really fast. My husband was a support for me and took care of the kids and watched over them at bedtime so that I could come back to the office. And I called myself and one other agent. We were the night shift. So we would come in when nobody was there. We would work really hard at looking for properties for buyers, answering emails, looking for properties to perhaps put on the market. And the first year in real estate, they had at that time what was called we used to go by $1 Million Club, but I won the Rookie of the Year because I was the top agent for sales at that particular time. That has gone away, since then, but we're talking 30 years ago. So I've been in real estate sales for a little over 30 years, and I have worked myself up from being that rookie and that brand new person in real estate to an associate broker. I did get my broker's license.
Congratulations.
And I felt that also education, because I was a nurse before and education was highly important to me,
Mm-hmm.
I felt that education in my field of real estate was going to be imperative. So as I started my career, I was taking classes. I always took classes. I took my Graduate Realtors Institute, all three of them, GRI 1, 2, and 3. I
Okay.
took classes to become a certified residential specialist.
Mm-hmm.
I took classes to become an e-pro. I took classes to become an accredited buyer's agent. I took classes to become a certified negotiation expert
Mm-hmm.
because I felt that education is empowering not only to me, but for my clients as well. Because the more educated I am, the more I can impart wisdom in real estate to them. And I felt that that was definitely the way to go.
100%. 100%. Love that story right there. It just speaks on the support system that you have from your family during a
Mhm.
transitional time, which is not easy for anyone, but it's always good to have that support. But your beginning, your background as a nurse is very interesting. My girlfriend being a nurse right now, registered nurse at the local hospitals, and I hear from her about the pay and the disparities there too. Now, to the average job market, in most cases a nurse is paying pretty decent, but for,
Right.
for the job that she has to do, especially in the emergency room, it's just not enough. And she tells me that the work, the expectations, and then the hours she works overnight. So I can 100% get that. We have a young son ourselves too, and our schedule just have to. I work during the day, she works at night. So when you were explaining that, I 100% get that. I can relate to that. But I want to send kudos to you for making that leap of faith. It worked out. 30 years later, very successful. First and foremost, not
Thank
everybody
you.
makes it to that point. So congratulations on all your success,
Thank
first
you.
and foremost. So
And
cool.
the other thing that
Yeah.
I'm working toward now too is that over the years, I have taught agents within the company, and I did continuing education in the state as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I still sit in and teach some classes within the company, and looking forward to that in the future as when I am ready to pull back out of sales,
Yeah.
that I might be doing some teaching and help bring up the new next generation of agents.
There you go. There you go. That's how you give back right there. I love
It
that.
is
I love
giving
that.
back, and it's
Mm-hmm.
it's not, I never saw myself as the kind of person who would retire.
Yeah.
I always felt like I need to do something. And to
Yes.
me, segueing into from a successful career, I can impart my knowledge back, and then that next generation will be able to do the same thing and take it forward.
I love that mindset. I love that mindset, Kathy. I say that same thing all the time. I don't want to retire. Why?
Right.
I want to just keep doing things I love to do. Let's just
If you
make it.
love doing it,
Come on, exactly. Just keep finding my passion, reinvent myself, find ways to give back, service. But I never want to retire. I want to keep finding things that
right.
I love to do. I can 100% relate to that. But to the average person, that seems like a crazy concept. But I get it. I get it.
But you also knowing the amount of energy that I put into my work
Right.
is because I'm not the kind of person to sit back and let things come to me. I'm the kind of
Mm-hmm.
person that is going to go out
Go out
looking
there.
for it.
Yep.
And the thing about that is that when you've got the energy to do this and you're moving it forward, it's really kind of hard to pull it all back.
Yeah.
So figure
Yeah.
out a way that you can find that niche to still be happy doing what you're doing,
Yeah.
and yet not be physically as active as things go forward,
That's
because
key.
eventually the body gets tired.
Yep. Yep. I'm
But the
glad you said it.
mind,
Yep.
you don't want the mind to get tired.
Hey, you giving us good game right now, Kathy. I love that. I couldn't have said it better myself. It makes more
Thank
sense
you.
coming from you. Yeah, I get it. So let's talk about your market, right? We already
Okay.
said Michigan. We're in Michigan, right? But let's go into more detail. Describe your market, the market that you serve specifically for the people who may have never been there.
Okay, I'm in the central part of Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at, I don't know how this comes out there, but Mitten is we're a mitten state.
See the
There's the
hand.
hand,
Yep.
and we're in this very center of the state.
Yep. Yep.
And so I'm in the East Lansing area where Michigan
Mm-hmm.
State University is. Go Green!
Go green.
And I cover the entire greater Lansing area of Michigan. in Michigan, but I have known to step outside my area. Right now, I have a client that is not looking right in this general vicinity. She's found some houses that are actually an hour away, and
Mm,
I've taken her there because we're in a time is of the essence situation. And she said, "I know that you have to drive, and I know this house might not be the right one." But I said, we need to get you into something. So I'm willing to do this because right now, what's most important to me is serving my clients, exceeding their expectations,
yeah.
and moving them forward into what they really need. And I guess that's what I've done my whole life. I took care of
Hmm.
patients and I serviced their needs. And now I'm taking care of my clients and I'm servicing their needs.
There you go. Well said. And that's just an example of you going above and beyond too. Because yeah, you're licensed in the entire state, but you like to stay
Right,
hyper focused on a certain area that you are
right,
the most familiar with. But that's not to say that you wouldn't go above and beyond for your clients to make
right,
something happen for them because you care about them. It's more than just the transaction. I love to hear and see that from agents because that is not reflective of all agents in the industry. Let me tell
right.
you that. So to hear that and see that you're actually doing live examples of that, it speaks a lot to your character. So let's talk about the other side of your market now. Let's talk about numbers, data, statistics in regards to real estate economics. What do you have for us?
Well, what I can tell you is there's a wide range of variety of price ranges in this market.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
can buy a house. I know that this sounds crazy, depending upon where you're from in the country, but
I
you
know.
can buy a house. Of course, it'll be a fixer upper for as low as $10,000. You can buy a $2 million property
This is
here
true.
as well.
This is true.
The average price range, if you took our whole greater Lansing area and you plugged into that to see what the average price range is, it'll be about two and a quarter. If that's taking all the highs and it's taking all the lows.
Right, right.
It's a very active market. We have very little inventory, as most of the country is exhibiting
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Houses are selling quickly. They're still selling at or above full price if they've been priced right. I put a house on the market, and using my marketing plan was to get this house onto the market as what we called a coming soon property,
Mm-hmm.
so that the sign was in the yard. There was a beginning of advertising, and I gave them a 2 week window to get everything done, to get the property staged and ready to go. As soon as we were done and we were ready to go, I opened it up, and I opened it up on the 6th, and I had one showing and got the offer put together in one day.
Ooh.
And my people are just, my sellers are just absolutely ecstatic
Yeah, I bet.
because they wanted this to be done quickly. And I said, we
Mm-hmm.
can get this done, but we
Ooh.
need to be with the program and we need to get it staged. We needed
Yep.
to be show ready. You had asked me once about what I felt was most important, and I might be segueing a little bit
Come on, come on.
because you had said something to me about the curb appeal or interior
Correct.
appeal. Curb appeal, when you pull up to a house and you look at, and somebody looks at that house, you want that house to draw you in.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely essential that the interior is also going to have appeal, but
Correct.
I want to have that outdoor looking really, really smart. I want it to look right. I want it to be positioned right. I want the exterior to meet the expectations of that price range too. The paint needs to be not chipping anywhere. If it's summer, the grass needs to be cut. Summer,
Yep.
spring, fall. If it's winter, things need to be shoveled. And then interior appeal is huge because I want that buyer, when they come up to that door, whether it's my buyer or somebody else's, and they see the first impression. You don't get a second chance to make a first impression.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to see that door and it's inviting for them to come in and open the door. I want them to have an wow feeling, I could live here.
There you go.
I
There you go.
segued off that subject a little bit, but
No,
the
that's fine.
market, the market as a whole here is moving very quickly. The forecast
Mm-hmm.
for this market for this year is to continue to this year to be a seller's market. I'm looking
Good to
to
see
get
that.
more properties on the market constantly.
Mm-hmm.
I work out of the office, not out of my home, because I feel that I am much more energized by being here and
Right,
not
right.
distracted. The home can distract me too much. You
Yes.
know, dogs, dogs.
Yeah.
family coming in and out,
Yeah.
you know, I need to be here,
I feel
and
that.
I get the work done. So,
Good job. No, I can relate to that. I get it. You gotta be super hyper focused to really get that type of stuff done. But yeah, 100% in regards to the curb appeal versus interior appeal. That was something that we
yep.
were doing off the camera. But I asked that question just to get different people's perspectives, and
Hmm.
different people can have their reasoning behind it also, right? But I get both ends, right? That's why I said there's no wrong, right or wrong answer. Curb
Right.
appeal is the cover to the book. Now you
Right.
say don't judge a book by its cover, but in human nature, like you said, you only get one chance to make a first impression. So if you drop the ball on that, the house grass isn't cut, or the windows look right, the roof looks crazy, or stings in the yard, or whatever the case may be, it can be extremely off-putting immediately. Not even give them a chance to see what's
Right.
on the inside, which could be completely renovated and beautiful. So you gotta
Hmm.
kind of set that tone with the curb appeal. I 100% get it. I want
And I
to.
don't.
Oh no,
I'm
please,
sorry.
please,
I was
no.
going to say, and I don't take my own pictures. I have a photographer take
Ah,
pictures.
there you
And I
go.
have a
Professional
photographer take
pictures.
pictures because I have a good eye,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't have the equipment that I think is necessary to do the best job to get that across when the pictures are online. I want
Well
it to
said.
be look professional.
Yeah, I've even heard from people personally who say, like, who are actively looking for homes, say, "Wow, the difference that photos make in these listings." I mean, like that
Absolutely.
you go from photos that just that they literally look like they were taken on a phone, even if it's on an iPhone, the latest iPhone. If it's not like adjusted correctly at the right angle and things of that nature, it doesn't look professional. You can literally tell the
Exactly.
difference between professional photos and everything else, is what I'll just essentially say. But that was definitely key, and I would agree with that.
And
Consider
I've had to tell my clients that if they look at pictures online and if it doesn't look right, it still might be the right house because
correct.
you can't tell until you get into
Hmm.
it because it might have been just a poor job with taking pictures.
Now that takes some convincing a little bit, because technically looking at them online could be that first
Right.
impression, right, Kathy? So how do you
Exactly.
how do you go about convincing them to still go ahead and check out the property even though it didn't look attractive online?
Because I tell them that, sometimes pictures can be deceiving. I
Right.
mean, pictures might not look good online, but if all the other boxes are ticked off, if the room sizes are right, the right number of bedrooms, bathrooms, the neighborhood is where they want to be, the outside appeal might be there. I said, we just got to get into it and look at
Right.
it. I
Right.
mean, especially when there's low inventory, let's just go look at it. It costs you nothing except a little bit of time,
Yep.
but it might be worth it because if there's something that even you can do to enhance that property, it might be worth it for the price.
Well said. Well said. I'm glad you spoke on that end too. The wide range of pricings in the properties in mid Michigan,
Hmm.
like you just said, 10,000 to 2 million, something
Right.
completely crazy. But it all depends on your area. There are pockets where there are those luxurious, upscale, higher end homes across mid Michigan. So can you talk about how you use your knowledge of knowing where these pockets of higher end homes are to kind of connect your clients to these types of luxurious properties?
Well, when you've been doing the business for as long as I have, you pretty much know where all the neighborhoods are going to be. And
Mm-hmm.
when I have a buyer that I know what their price range is going to be and I know what the distance is going to be to where they might be working, then I can connect them to where I think might be the most appropriate places to look. And I give them a wide variety and we do searches. And so if I'm just going by price range and they don't mind a little bit of drive, because technically here, if you're in the middle of my area, the drive here
Yep.
to get to the outskirt to maybe
Mm-hmm.
that house might be 20 minutes
15,
where
20
they might be
minutes.
used to driving over an hour where they
Yep.
live.
That's a fact.
So just knowing where those are today,
Yep.
I have this one couple that I'm working with that's coming from Minnesota, and so she sends me MLS numbers to say, what do you think about this one? I don't know because they don't know the neighborhood at all.
Right.
They don't know what's a busy street. They don't want to be on a busy street. So she sent me this one, and I said, that's on the corner of a really busy street. Well, she said,
Mm,
I really don't want to be on a busy street
right. Right.
because they're musicians and she didn't want to be there.
Mm.
So but I know if she sends me an address, I know where that might be. And these people have changed their price range a number of different times because they've thought, well, maybe we can get something lower and we can fix it up if everything else is right. So
Right,
I
right,
went and
right.
previewed a house for them yesterday that's not even on the market. And the sellers were willing to let me come in to see the home and see if it might fit their needs. And this has all been done just through networking through different people and some churches to try to find a fit. You have to look everywhere right now.
Right. Yes, 100%. Yeah, you gotta keep your eyes open. It's a seller's market. It's not a buyer's
Right.
market, which means it's going to favor the sellers more, which means you don't have as many choices. You don't have as much time either to even check out the very few choices. So if you have the opportunity to check out a home, if everything else checks off, then you should pay that home a visit. I
Yep.
100% get convincing. I would see how it shouldn't take too much to convince them if everything else checks the box except for such and such,
Right.
the outside or whatever the case may be. So great job there. But I want to speak on you doing that networking and everything and looking for these homes. You are part of the home seekers team. Also, can you
Exactly.
speak on that first and foremost? What is that exactly? It's
Sure.
self-explanatory a little bit.
Sure. Home Seekers is the team that I belong to.
Hmm.
On the Seekers team, we have a principal who is the one that owns the business Home Seekers
Right.
within the company though,
Hmm.
that we work under. And then he's an associate broker. I'm an associate broker. There's another agent, two other agents on the team that are associate brokers, and then there's two additional agents on the team that are realtors, and all of us together work really hard to bring that energy and to the culture that we have on our team and look for the homes that service our clients. We have meetings often. We talk about what do we have that's coming on the market and who do we have as buyers. That house that I told you about that I sold in one day, that house was sold because one of my teammates had a buyer for that house, and that those
Nice.
buyers lost out on another house. And because within the team we're talking about what we have coming up, I was able to segue that to her, and she made the appointment right away. And as soon as the appointment was made, got the people in and they got the offer written. Teamwork is just together, everybody achieves more as team.
Yeah.
And that's why we are all together.
Yeah, yeah. I love to hear that. I love to hear about agents collaborating rather than competing. It's needed. I mean, at the end of the day, whenever you're making a transaction, you're going to sit opposite of another agent anyway.
Right.
And you're going to
Right.
have to find a way to make ends meet and make it a win-win situation anyway. So you
Right.
might as well cut the competition thought out and learn to collaborate for those reasons. That way you can instantly get with a buyer rather than having to do a lot of marketing and spending a lot of time searching and looking. Look within your circle first. And if that doesn't work,
Yep.
go to the next circle right outside of that. When I saw
And
that,
I
I saw that's a genius idea, by the way.
And I still am, we still compete even against each other. I mean,
I
I
get
don't
it.
know who all of my buyers agents have, and they don't know all my listings that are coming up. But when I know I've got something coming up, I generally will share that. I don't skimp on my marketing because
There you go.
what if that agent had shown that house and the buyers thought it was really nice, but they weren't ready to write right away. Even if I don't care whether they are or whether they're not. My role as representation for that seller is to make sure I do everything I possibly can. So I did my professional photography. I did my 3D Matterport photography with the photographer. I did everything that I needed to do up front to make sure that if we didn't hit it right, is
Hmm.
right out of the gate, that I've got everything there for the next one.
Gotcha. Yep. Yep. And I can see how that works exactly with the whole system and everything that you're putting together. It, it just needs to be that friendly competition too. It's motivating.
Right.
It's
Right.
motivating. You know what I'm saying? But it
Yep.
shouldn't be to the detriment of anyone's career or brand or
Right.
name or
Right.
anything like that. So I respect that. I respect and
Thank you.
love that. One of the certifications you have, certified negotiation expert. I'm gonna
Right.
be honest with you, Kathy. I feel like, and I know this isn't true. I feel like the seller certification and the buyer certification, yeah, okay, yeah, it's a certification, makes you more official. But as long as you know how to market in some way, I can see you being a great seller, and vice
Mhm.
versa with the buyer. The negotiation certificate, just to round this out, seems like the most valuable one because learning how to negotiate is a skill. Can you talk about what you've learned obtaining that certification and how those skills actually play in a real life scenario with you negotiating a transaction?
Well, in negotiating, you're going to negotiate right from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the first part of it is negotiating with the seller when you're going to market the property.
Correct.
I mean, there's a lot of things to discuss with sellers in terms of marketing, in terms of fees, in terms of a lot of things and what they want to do, what they don't want to do. So upfront, you're negotiating as an agent because you might be competing against other agents. So
Mm-hmm.
you want to talk about what your value proposition is when you're bringing yourself to the table with that seller. So I want to provide first and foremost with that seller all the information that's in my toolkit, and I want them to know what that toolkit is and what it means to them. When I put a property on the market and then I get an offer on that property, I want to be skilled, which I have those skills over the years and additional ones through the certification to make sure that I know what I'm doing the best thing. And the language is so important. What you're going to import to people and make sure
Mm-hmm.
that they understand, because you can't make an assumption that a seller or a buyer is going to understand what you're talking about, because it's
That's
just
correct.
like a doctor talking to a patient.
That's
If the
correct.
doctor is talking in medical terms
Mm-hmm.
or the agent or broker is talking in legal in real estate terms,
Mm-hmm.
those people, those sellers, those buyers may not understand.
Yeah.
And when you're going to negotiate, I have told my sellers and my buyers, make sure you read everything. I will tell you what's on here and break this down so that you understand it, but make sure you read everything. It's so important for sellers and buyers to read these contracts and understand what they say. And if there's any questions on there, or if they're not sure and they need to contact an attorney to talk that through, I make sure that they know that that's an option out there for them too to discuss. But I want to make sure when I'm negotiating between the buyer's agent and myself, if I'm the listing agent, I want to make sure that the sellers understand that this is their decision, not mine.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
that buyer's agent, it's not the buyer's agent decision, it's the buyer's decision.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
when you're addressing these offers, we're negotiating between two parties, and myself as the list agent and the buyer's agent, we are the facilitators.
Right.
So I just want them to understand this is not my offer, it's my
Clients offer.
buyer's offer
Yep.
or my seller's offer. So I want to make sure that we speak in the right terms.
Correct.
And I've found that over the years that the words you use are so important, because when even to things like when you're talking about a buyer's agency agreement, it's, we use the word agreement, not contract, even though it is a contract.
Mm.
But the word just but
That's a
understand that
good point.
it's an agreement.
Yep. Yep.
And so you want everybody to be in agreement, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the words that you use are really important in any negotiation, but also having the knowledge base is so important, and knowing the nuances of how you can maybe change something to make it more acceptable to
Yep.
a seller or more acceptable to a buyer. The whole goal is to put the two parties together
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and not make it aggressively challenging between the two.
That communication. That
It's all
communication
communication.
is so key. I am a
It
I
is.
am a strong advocate for communication in so many different ways, graduating with my communication degree, but that is so key. And we
Mhm.
hear it all the time. It sounds cliche. It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
How you say it.
That quick example of the agreement rather than using the word contract, even though it is legally binding like a contract.
Right.
It's a small example, but it makes a difference. It could be a lot less off-putting,
Right.
sending that document to someone because they're like, oh, this is a contract, I'm gonna be locked in this and blah blah blah. Even though you should read all documents before you sign, an agreement would seem less intrusive in a way, in some
And
sort of ways.
it tones down the level. It takes the level
Exactly.
down.
Yep. That's
You
well
know,
said.
they can understand that it means the same thing,
Yep.
but it's the way that you come across and how you say it to these
Mm-hmm.
people.
Mm-hmm. I
Hmm.
would agree. I would agree. I'm curious about this though, Kathy, if I'm being honest. 30 plus years in real estate. Let me do the
Yep.
math. 1990, early 1990s.
Yep.
Whoa. Now, I reach out to hundreds, if not thousands overall, agents in the entire country. Now, I
Hmm.
have had some older agents who have that same experience, but they say, I don't want to necessarily do a podcast. I don't do social media. I'm not this. I'm not technologically savvy and this and that. But you accepted this. You
Hmm.
accepted to be here to create this content, educate our audience. That
Right.
actually means a lot. So I feel like that is a testament to your success, but I want you to speak on it. What mindset does it take for you to continuously be successful after 30 years, accept invitations like this to create content for social media at this stage in your career?
We have one life. I want to experience as much as I possibly can. And at this stage in my career, I'm not hanging up my shingle. And I want to put myself out there so that people know who I am,
Mm-hmm.
what I do, what I can do for them. And I want to be a resource. I am a solutions provider.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's really important because I have clients that'll come to me all the time and ask me questions and they don't know the answer.
Yeah.
And if I don't know it, I'm going to find it for them. I don't claim to know all the answers and I never
Mm-hmm.
will,
Mm-hmm.
but I will find the solution if there's a problem and find a way to do it. I was told when I was younger, early in my career, they said, if you keep going at the rate you're going, you're going to burn out. I said, no, I won't. They said,
Mm.
oh, you might burn out. I said, I will find a way not to do that. And so I'm energetic till the day is long. I love to work. I love to do what I do. So one of my mentors said to me one year, "Why don't you do this? Why don't you take out a yearly calendar and plan when you want to take your vacations or your 4-day weekends
Mm-hmm.
and then work around them?" So I did.
I like that.
So I knew when I was going to go and where I was going to go, and I planned those dates, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and I worked in between them. So I got my respite when I needed to, but I I have a that little stuffed Energizer bunny, the
Yeah.
pink one
Yeah.
with the things.
Right.
I had an agent that gave that to me once, and it sits on the corner of my
That's funny.
desk. Yeah, because that's me. I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
go.
Mm-hmm. That's that passion. That passion is
Yes.
driving you. I can relate to that. Just from the way you're speaking, from the beginning all the way to now, I'm hearing the passion. And
Yep.
that's what's keeping you in this whole industry, is keeping you thriving and successful. I had to ask that question. I feel like it's very, very important because, like I said, not all agents who have that 20, 30-year experience are open to platforms of this nature that can reach more people, expand your audience, promote your business. Things that they're just not even open to the fact of creating content for social media and the internet. So I just want to applaud you. That
Thank
literally
you.
speaks to your character, your personality, and literally your success. Because a lot of the people, like I said, from the older 20 plus years in the industry, they're closed-minded. I already know what's made me successful after the 15, 20 years. I'm just keeping this. I don't need to open to anything else. But I just want to take time to put that out there, Kathy, because
Well,
that
thank
means a
you.
lot to me.
Well, that's why some agents get out of the business when they do.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of things that happen with technology changes over
Yeah.
the years. Obviously,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I watched it with my own family. I watched it with my own family from the time that the kids got their first computer. I mean, we're from when the first computers came out.
Yeah, I
I mean,
remember.
literally,
Yeah,
and
that's
then
a
and you're in,
fact.
and now we get software changes that happen all the time,
Yeah.
programs that change all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like if you don't stay on top of it, you're going to fall behind.
Yeah.
So stay on top of it. I mean, if you're not going to, you fall behind in the business.
That is so true. That's so true. Because let me tell you, I'm only in my mid-30s and I still look at TikTok like, how do you work this thing? And I'm
Yeah.
just thinking back to the time where the computer, like you said, computer first came out. I was the
Yeah.
young one in the house on the computer. My mom looking at me like, what are you doing? What is all this internet stuff? But just how it goes. Like you got to stay involved. You got to stay
Yep.
open-minded. And then another one key thing before we move on, I want to speak on that you brought up. People placing their insecurities on you. That is a
Right.
big pet peeve of mine. Just because you feel like you can't or didn't achieve something does not mean that applies to me. It's a complete,
Right.
you don't know how I'm built. You don't know what my passion is. You may feel like
Right.
that'll burn you out, but I'm built for this. I'm
Right.
built for this. So
Right.
I want to speak on that too, because I don't like when people do that at all. So to hear people doing that to you, but you overcome that, we
Yep.
can't do nothing but respect it. So thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Reflecting back on your career, 30
Yes.
years, let's talk about
Yes.
a testimonial or some type of feedback you got from a client that just spoke to how well you worked with them, how you went above and beyond. Just something that stands out to you out of your 30 years, 30 plus
Ah,
years.
boy, there's been so much that over time, and as I do my work and my clients get requests from me for how did I serve you? Is there anything you can say? And they'll send things in, and it's nice accolades to have. One thing that happened to me recently that I had a a seller that was I don't know who all your audience is, but it was a lead that came to me. And the lead that came to me, they said it was in a much higher price range than it actually wound up to be. But little did I know when I got into it that the gentleman that whose property I was selling was handicapped in many ways. And
Mm,
when I saw the property for the first time, when I went to it, because I accepted it, when I went to it, and I could barely breathe when I walked in because it was so heavy with smoke. And he was having a difficult time. The property value was not there from what I thought it was.
mm.
I could have just walked away and said, I'm sorry, I can't help you. But I said, he needs help. He needs me. And so I sat with him and with his friend who actually offered him because a place to stay because I had asked him in the first place, is there some place that you could go and take your dog with you so that we can get everything cleaned for you and get the property ready to go on the market because it just needed everything.
All right.
And working with this client, it was a labor it was a labor of love to get this property ready and to get him moved and to get the property sold. But when I did, he was so overjoyed because I stayed with it and I found him all the people to do the work and I got the job done and we got a good price, even though it wasn't what he thought it would be to begin with, or what I thought it was going to be when I was given this project. It was well worth it to service him and get him so that he could be in a place where he was going to get more help from a friend.
Good. Good.
And to me, I don't feel like the I don't feel like I need the personal pump me up, pat on the back kind of thing. It's nice when I get that, but my pat on the back is to see that smile on somebody's face when they say thank you, or when they appreciate the fact that I've done a good job for them, or when they refer me to their friends.
Yeah, that's the biggest. Yep.
That's the biggest
Mm-hmm.
testimonial that I get,
Mm-hmm.
is when they
Mm-hmm.
refer me to their friends and family. And I had a lot of that this past year too, because the market was crazy.
Yeah.
And they're referring me to friends and family. People are moving out of state. People are changing houses. People can't find things. And it was kind of intense. It was an intense year. But that's the biggest testimonial to me, is those referrals that I get from them,
Yeah.
because agents know that you can you can buy any kind of lead generation system that you want.
Mm-hmm.
I source my business every year. I look at where did this sale come from? The biggest sales that I get, the most important numbers of sales that I get are coming from past clients.
Yeah.
That's the biggest group. And what's the group that agents are afraid to contact and afraid to pick up the phone and call? They keep looking for that elusive gold ring that's up here that they're going to get that they can buy. Pick up the phone, call your past clients,
Yeah.
say hello.
Yeah.
Who do you know within the next 3 months that might need my services? It's not do you know, it's who do you know?
That's a fact.
Because that makes them have a conversation instead of just saying no.
That's a
And
fact.
so
Yeah.
I know I segued a little bit off topic there,
No,
but
no.
that's where my testimonials, my biggest stuff is coming from them, because I can get it on paper, but I don't. The biggest stuff is when somebody says, "Hey, she did a great job. You should call her."
That 100% correct. That is the right answer, Kathy. That works in any business, almost any industry in general.
Oh, sure.
Word of mouth is the strongest referral recommendation, testimonial feedback that you can get from anybody, because not only does it say this person did me so well, everybody that I know should be going to this person because they did it. They did it well. They got the job done. And I want to, and it kind of makes them feel empowered in a way too, because they feel like I know someone that can do a great job, and I can be the plug. I can be that dot connector for anyone who needs that. So it's just
and
like,
you know
some
what
friends.
I say to that?
Yep, please.
You know what I say to that?
Mm-hmm.
A referral to, if I want that referral to me to be a good reflection on you.
Exactly. Yep, exactly.
I don't want
to
I never want to disappoint the person that referred that person to me. I want to exceed expectations, so that is a good reflection on the person that sent them to me.
Yep. And that was the perfect way to say it. I couldn't say it any better. So, Kathy, I want you to motivate us now at this point. Is there a movie, book, quote, philosophy that you live by that kind of shapes your life personally and or professionally that you could share with us?
Yeah. Everything in moderation and nothing in extreme. Everything in moderation, nothing in extreme. Anytime you start stepping outside that comfort zone, things might start happening in a direction you don't want them to go. If you undercut yourself, if you do too little, you won't achieve what you want to achieve. If you push too hard, it can work the opposite direction. Be moderate, but be excellent.
Man, that's such a simple thing to say, but it's heavy. It's heavy. And it already has me reflecting on some things like, am I doing too much? It already has me thinking about the things I'm doing myself. And that's why I love asking that question. It's literally inspiration for myself, for our audience, for us to think back and how that applies to our life, or how we can apply it to our life just to be better human beings. Like I said, Kathy, we're just talking. It just so happened to be about real estate. But thank you so much for that motivation. This is a perfect place to land the plane. At this point, if you have any last words and or want to tell people how to reach out to you, the floor is yours.
Oh, do I? I don't want to have last words. That's a scary connotation.
Okay. Oh, wait, no, I get it.
These are not going to be my last words.
Okay. Great angle. I'm sorry. Anything you want to say to the audience?
Well, if anybody ever wanted to reach out to me, if anybody ever wanted to reach out, I do like to kid around too, you know. I have a sense of humor, but if anybody wanted to reach out to me, they can reach out to me on my phone, which is, I don't mind leaving that phone number out if it's okay with you. That's 517-719-1900, or they can email me at kbirchen, BIRCHEN @gmail.com.
Thank you, Kathy. That was funny. You're the first person to say that. I'm like, wait, what? And I'm like, oh my God, no. Maybe
oh
I
my
need
God,
to change how I say that.
We're doing a podcast, and he's asking somebody that's a veteran to give their last words.
I'm so sorry. And thank you.
No,
for
don't
your
be sorry.
service
It was fun.
Thank you for your service too. With that being said, oh my goodness, Kathy, that was hilarious. Thank you. For our YouTube audience watching right now, if you got into this point in the video, do us both a favor, hit the like button, please, and thank you. Make sure you also share and subscribe to the content. If you are listening on Apple, Spotify, or any other podcast platforms, please do the same. Give us a like, give us a 5-star rating, and subscribe for our latest content. And Kathy, always like to leave our audience with a question on the way out. So this is for the audience. Would you work with an agent who knowingly has no online presence whatsoever? No social media, no internet. Would you work with them? Don't tell us now, though. Leave it in the comments below. Besides that, talk to you.